Well, hello and welcome to Atheism versus Logic. I hope you're having a good day. I'm extremely mad. I just found out about chaperonins. These are proteins that help proteins fold properly. So originally my issue and the thing that I think nailed the coffin in atheism is that you need proteins to make proteins, right? You need these proteins that make up the ribosome so that the information in the genes can be turned into a functional protein. Well, now we need another one. So you've got two proteins. I don't know how many different proteins make up the ribosome. I think the most simple ribosome contains 55 proteins. I don't know how many different proteins those are. And proteins are made of amino acids. You need to study proteins. If you're an atheist, you need to study proteins because proteins kill atheism. So now I figure out you've got to have two different proteins. You've got to have proteins making up the ribosome so that proteins can be created, the right sequence of amino acids. And then that sequence of amino acids has to go to a chaperonin to fold properly. Okay, and then here's the next thing. That just really angers me. So you guys send me stuff that you're convinced life can make itself. And of course, for a while, people thought it was the RNA world hypothesis. Now people are saying it's the atheists and scientists are saying that it's the protein first hypothesis. I don't know if it's called something else. And what they're saying is it's an unfolded or it's a misfolded protein. So, and I think it's called an amyloid protein. So when a protein doesn't fold properly, it's called, and then what happens is more proteins stick to it or more amino acids stick to it. I'd have to study more, but it's called aggregation. It is not good. And amyloid proteins are not good. They're harmful to the body. So here's what they do. Listen to this. I love you guys, but atheists and scientists are lying to you. They're misleading you. Number one, they're telling you that life could come about by natural processes. They're not telling you that you need two different proteins to just make a protein. So how do you make those two proteins without them? It is a chicken and an egg problem, right? You can't have functional proteins without these two proteins to make proteins. And then they find a disease, amyloid proteins, or proteins fold properly, and then they start to stick to each other. And they take that disease and they tell you that's how life probably started. Do you know how misleading that is? That is so misleading. And do you know that the Miller-Urey experiment happened in 1952? That's 67 years ago. 67 years ago, scientists figured out that amino acids could come about by natural processes. Guess what has not happened in 67 years? A functional protein has not formed outside of a cell, outside of this amazing mechanism that a creator created, obviously, to those of you who are not lying to yourselves. There is no way a protein could form, yet polypeptides form, right? Scientists have been able to get, of course, they get amino acids to link to each other, but they haven't made a functional protein outside of a living cell. Or maybe they've taken parts of a living cell and done that. All right. So these studies are very misleading. So man, what has happened in 67 years with the internet and cell phones and vehicles and rockets? Look at every other study and look how it has made so much progress in 67 years, and the origin of life, the study of abiogenesis in 67 years is pretty much back to zero. First, it was RNA world hypothesis. Now it's protein first. Man. So here's what I'm asking you to do. I'm asking you to be honest with yourself. Do not lie to yourself. Study the difference between polypeptides and proteins. Study that proteins, for a protein to come about, you need a functional gene and you need at least two different groups of proteins. You need the proteins in the ribosome to make the link of the proper sequence of amino acids. And then you need the chaperonin, this protein that helps proteins fold properly. All right, man. I love you guys. And if you're AronRa, if you're Richard Dawkins and you come across this video, if you're any atheist YouTuber, if you're a scientist and you are misleading the world by conveying that functional proteins could come about by natural processes, you need to quit lying to people. AronRa, quit lying to people. Richard Dawkins, quit lying to people. Quit misleading them because they're not doing their homework, right? Most atheists do not know the difference between a polypeptide and a protein. Most atheists don't know that you need ribosomes to create proteins, and you need chaperonins to help them fold properly. So man, quit lying. Please, atheists, quit lying to yourself. And then if you're a leader in the atheist community, quit lying to people. If you're a scientist, quit lying to people. Be honest with them. Tell them that the most logical view of this is that it had to be designed. These things could not come about by natural processes. In 67 years, we still don't have a functional protein outside of the amazing mechanism and processes inside of a living cell that a creator clearly created. So quit lying to yourselves and quit lying to other people.